right, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us this day right here on Kirk Mid Morning. My name is Kaulu. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Do interact with us on our social media pages, that is Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. A very interesting program lined up for you today, but I hope you are keeping well and staying safe despite, what happened, what we witnessed yesterday. Of course, we'll be talking about that on tomorrow's show. So today we handle different matters, and in studio with me I am excited to host let me start with Pastor Mike Pastor Mike Celestin and the wife Daisy Celestin, all the way from UK. Karibuni sana. That's welcome. And honored to have you on today's program. Excited to talk about the young people, just to highlight different issues, and waiting to hear from you and the wisdom you're going to share with us on today's program. Karibuni sana. So at this point, I'll allow them to introduce themselves further. Tell us more of what you do. Daisy, we say ladies first.
Oh, lovely. Well, my name is Daisy Celestin. I am born actually in Kenya, Nairobi, and I relocated to London at the age of about 3.5, where I've been ever since. So I currently lead the adult youth with my husband of UKPCA St. Matthew's Parish. We have 6 congregations and 5 congregations. I'm speaking in faith, you see. 5 congregations and growing all the more every day. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to work alongside the adult youth. It's really, honestly, fills us with such joy. There's such an exciting bunch. And yeah, we absolutely love it.
Great.
Yeah, I'm Michael Celestin. I'm not big on titles, etc. Just moved by grace, function by grace.
Okay.
But yes, youth ministry work alongside Daisy would not be the same without her in town. So I'm really, really happy she's around. I mean, for work, I work in corporate training, delivering leadership training, coaching, these kind of things. But my passion is young people. My passion is the church and preaching, and there's a lot more to the story, but I'll put a comma right there.
Yeah. Okay. For how long have you been working with young adults?
Okay, we were working with young adults before we met.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could say that I was working with young adults since I was 20. I would say a good solid 2021. I was really into it. I didn't really have full responsibility of my own youth group till I was about 23, 24, and then I was ordained at 24, and it was just history from there. And then we met together, we just joined resources.
Yeah.
What age did you come?
I mean, I was, from when I would say gave my life to Christ, as in with a knowing and an actual sense of real understanding and reverence for the decision and choice I was making, was at 15. And from then on, I kind of was, I think I had a year of like me growing and, loving God. And then from then on, I was made a mentor. And from being a mentor, I ended up leading Christian Union in my college. And throughout the whole of uni, it was just leading, mentoring.
Yeah.
So I've kind of, since very early on, I found myself leading young people, even when I was a young person myself. There was always someone else, and it was actually quite interesting because sometimes I'd be leading people that were older than me. But that's the funny thing about God. It's never really about what we see physically. It's always about the grace that He's placed within us internally, and that sometimes doesn't consider age as a factor. But yeah, I think individually we've been in youth ministry for a very long time, and collectively that fire has stayed, and I'm so blessed to have found somebody that is just as passionate as young people as I am, because I think that would have been very difficult if
I can imagine
if one of us was the other way.
Great. I think I like that both of you have experience with working with young people even from way back. So this means you are knowledgeable of what we're going to talk about. And even as we look forward to talk about young people, in case you have any questions, comments, leave them down below in our comment section. And we'll be looking at them. In case of any question, of course, Daisy, Pastor Mike will be able to get to them as we continue with the program. But before we get to the many issues affecting young people, let me first get to hear about you guys and how you met. Interesting to get to know that both of you already in your own ministries than before you even came together. But I'd like to hear how you met. I don't know who'd like to go first.
Hey, Daisy's the storyteller.
Oh gosh. I had a feeling he would say that.
Okay.
I would say, so it was our story and our journey was actually very short. Well, it was short by standards of society, and I guess most people, including ourselves, would find it short. But God had started bringing that journey together a long time ago. But we met because we had a mutual friend, and she was inviting me for a while to her Bible study. And Bible study was being hosted at her house, and it clashed with my church's Bible study at the time, so I was never able to go. So she was always like, you have to come, and I was like, I want to come, but at the same time I have my church Bible study, and I was also one of the leaders of the Bible study session, so it's not like I could just be like, I'm not going to be here. But we had a break, and whilst we had that break, coincidentally, she messaged me and was like, Daisy, still you're not able to come? So I was like, okay girl, I hear you loud and clear, I'm coming. And she had also been telling me, I really want you to meet my pastor, I think you guys would get along. And we also had another mutual friend who used to go to Pastor Mike's church at the time, and he was constantly telling me, I want you to come to church, you need to meet my pastor. But at the time I didn't connect that they were both talking about the same person. So lo and behold, I went to the Bible study, and I walked in, and as soon as I walked into the living room, there was Pastor Mike with, I believe he had his iPad in his hand, and he was going through the word. And I remember my first thought just being, that's the pastor?
She wasn't what I was expecting, was it?
I was not expecting it at all. I was expecting, somebody perhaps in their late 40s, 50s. And there was this man in his mid to late 20s, and I just thought, oh, okay, didn't expect that, interesting. But we continued on.
Tip number 1.
We continued on, and he was very charismatic in the way that he shared and related with people, and I just remember being wowed by his extensive knowledge of the word, and the way he was just able to speak scripture and go through it. And I remember thinking, wow, the only other person that I know who can speak the word so fluently, almost like it's a language, was my pastor at the time. So I remember that being one of the things that I instantly thought, wow. And especially with, I guess, maybe the male people that I was exposed to at the time, a lot of them who said they were Christians, the word wasn't necessarily a strong point. So strong men who know the word is, we need to rise up of that. So that's kind of our first meeting. And then shortly after, I think I attended about 3 sessions, and then he rang me to, as he rings, or he says he rings all members who come who are new.
Maybe it's good if I just share one of my first impressions of you when you came into the room.
Please do.
Oh, okay. So when I first saw you, I was like, okay, new member, just basic, new person passing through, who knows how long you'll stay for. So I was carrying business as usual, but then as you had to go into, you came for a few more weeks after that, and I took a bit more interest. But at that moment, I was thinking, regular person, you're going to come, you're going to go. It wasn't until after the session was finished where I really saw that she was a different kind of person. She wasn't from the natural order of things, from my perspective anyway. I'm used to giving, preparing and giving, and people are typically used to coming and receiving. But she didn't have that mindset. She came in, and after the session was done, she was led by the Spirit. She took somebody into another room, she prayed for them. I didn't know. All I knew is that she came out of the bedroom, and the other person came out just completely crying. And I was like, interesting. She's not just a spectator. She's a participator. And I was like, tick, tick. But I just left it in my mind, and I was like, I'm very interested in the person of who you are. What kind of a spirit do you carry? So that was my first impression of you. But go ahead.
Which he didn't share with me at the time. But when we spoke on the phone, when he called me, he was just like very casual. Hi, how are you? Oh, you've been to Bible study a few times now. I'm just wondering, how are you finding it, etc., etc. And as we were talking, we somehow discovered that we were both going to be at the same place at the same time the next day. Both of our jobs kind of happened to crisscross. So we decided to grab a coffee. So we had coffee at, I think it was midday, about 12 p.m. and believe we stayed there until 11 p.m. when the shop closed.
What?
11-hour stretch, 11-hour conversation.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Just talking.
And the conversation felt good. It wasn't one of those things where we were just trying to fill the gaps of. It was genuinely an uncovering of new things, new facets about each other. And I was like, it wasn't until the security guard said that you need to guys.
That you noticed.
Yeah.
It just felt so natural. It just flowed, and it wasn't forced or anything.
Right.
And we just found out so many similarities that we had, and so many ways that our paths had actually crossed already without us ever knowing.
We had the same youth pastor.
Yes.
Okay.
We had his youth pastor was my mentor, and obviously we never knew. So we had a lot of similarities, and I think after that, after they closed, we then walked. I was supposed to take the bus back home at the time. And he was like, "Oh, let's just grab a hot chocolate and just walk us, and I'll walk you to the bus stop." Then it would turn into the next stop, the next stop, the next stop, and then I think we ended up walking for about another hour and a half, talking. And after that, it was pretty much like every day we just carried on talking, and getting to know each other, and that's where the journey fast tracked, because we met in October of 2013. And I think we officially started courting in January 2014. He proposed to me in June 2014, and we were married by August 2014. So it was a very short courtship and dating period. It was really quick.
I was entirely locked. When I saw you, I knew exactly I wanted to take you off the market.
Oh gosh.
And you know, that's something, I actually came across a tweet on Twitter where they were saying, a man knows immediately, you know, this is it.
I knew it.
Tell us about that, because...
I knew it. Yeah, I mean, I at the time, I was a single pastor. I was young, and there were opportunities that could present themselves to me. But at that time, I was just trying to be focused. So the walls were up, the guards were up.
Yeah.
And during that walk, as she was mentioning, we went from bus stop to bus stop, right up the road. I noticed that she was kind of getting past the wall. Like, who gave you the keys? How did you know? I noticed that, and she was in that space, and I felt vulnerable. I felt insecure slightly, but the way that she was handling my questions, handling my interest, she was completely graceful. And it was one of those things where she was showing these things so effortlessly. I just absolutely knew that she's going to be a great life partner. From the moment I saw her praying after the Bible study, she's going to be a great ministry partner. When I saw her speaking to her father, her spiritual father, consulting around business, she's going to be a great business partner. When I snuck into her family home, well, invited.
He was invited.
But I had an ulterior motive, thinking, let me just see how she handles home life.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, she's effortless in here. She's submitted to her parents. Yeah. And I'm like, she's going to be a great home partner. There's so many things I saw, and I think after the third or fourth confirmation, I was like, this is going to be amazing. Oh, I even went to the church as well, and I was like, great, not just ministry partner, but also church, kind of like minister as well. She had the respect of the people. She knew her word as well. People consulted her for certain things, and I just thought to myself, I'm not going to walk out of this place and not make sure that I want to let her know my intentions. Yeah. And let her know that I'm not here to play games. I want to take you to the altar as quickly as possible. She friend zoned me once, and I was completely shook up.
He literally said to me, he literally called me and said to me, okay, I'm not into playing games. I don't want to play games. So I just want to be straight with you. I'm digging you. I was like, what?
I know. I was just a better word.
Was that too straightforward?
I think it caught me off guard because maybe I just wasn't expecting it. Okay. Not many guys are that straightforward so early on, especially. Yeah. They tend to, they want to play games sometimes. And even within the church, guys can still have that kind of playboy attitude kind of thing where it's like, are you pursuing me? Are you not? Yes. What's happening here? Are we friends? Are we more? Like, what can we like clear up the lines here? So it was very refreshing, but it also caught me off guard because I didn't expect it. I did not, and especially so soon. In my mind, I think I always envisioned, and all my friends know this, when I said I was getting married, when we were going to get married, all my friends were so shocked because I was always that girl that was like, no, I have to have known him for at least 2-3 years. Then we have to date for like at least a year minimum, maybe 2, and then an engagement for at least a year. So all in all, I need like 5 solid years. And in those 5 years, I can get to know him, his family, you know, I'll know whether there's anything, skeletons he's hiding, you know, anything. I was always that person that would be like, you know, when I hear people getting married after a year, I'm like, girl, you crazy? Like, that's are you sure you know him? Like, so I never expected, like, within about 2-3 months for him to just be so straightforward and say, boom, this is what it is. But it was very refreshing, I have to say.
Okay.
Pleased to hear it.
And for you, when did he get off the friend zone? When were you at least?
Please tell the people.
Yeah.
When did I come out of the friend zone? Well, that was hard work.
I'd say that I think I was very cautious as well. The same way he says he has walls built up, I also did. And I had actually just come out of a situationship not that long ago that had completely drained me, to be honest.
Okay.
And I had made, you know, we make those vows to God and we say, God, I was just like, I don't want nobody. I don't even want to think about relationships. I don't want to think about guys. Lord, I just want you. I just want to search after you. Like, so I had just felt this sense of great empowerment and great sense of, wow, like I felt so much more in love with God because I had removed the distractions. So when I started feeling something towards him, I would probably say it was maybe by about December when I realized, no, actually probably November, probably a bit earlier, November, because he was very persistent. He would be everywhere. Like he would pop up in my church service and I'm like, oh, you're here. At all our mutual. If there was a birthday party for a friend, he pops up. I'm like, you're here again. Hi. So it was kind of hard not to notice him. But at the same time, I was really resisting it because I was like, no, you know, I've told myself I'm pursuing God only and I want to be, you know, I just want to be celibate. I want to be like Paul. I just want to chase after God. I don't want the distractions of the world. And so, I think it took a little bit longer for me. And I remember in December and Christmas, he gave me this card that was beautiful. And
poured my heart in the card. I was like, I'm going to write what I feel in written form.
Yeah, he really did.
I chose I was in the card shop for a long time, longer than I've ever been in my whole life. Choosing the card, and I put it all in the card, and I put it together, and I was like, right, I'm going to give it to her. Christmas time. Why don't you tell the people what you gave me? Please tell me.
I gave him a very beautiful card, which I also spent a lot of time choosing. But the part that he likes to focus on is because his card was titled To the One I Love, I believe, or
there was no love in there.
There was to someone special, or it was very beautiful. It was like, I think that's what it said, to someone special. But my card to him was basically said to a new friend or to a great friend. So he read the first page and didn't even he was just shot down.
I wanted to get into the message. What did you write for me?
And I basically just said that, you know, it's great to be friends and I really appreciate his friendship and I think that we should explore the friendship.
And on the front page, she had a picture of a sheep. She's like, treat me as one of your sheep in the congregation. There's not romance over there. You have a romantic interest. So when she put me in that zone, my heart just dropped to the floor. I was like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. But I had to respect the decision. I had to say, you know what, Michael, just flow into the vibe. And how long was I in there for?
It was probably about 8 weeks.
That's too long.
It felt like too long.
It really wasn't that long. It really wasn't that long. But I couldn't resist. I ended up I couldn't. Even though I wanted to slow things down. Because like I said, I was very like, oh, I have to have known him for this long. So it kind of felt strange. But when we slowed things down, I then felt like, no, this doesn't feel natural either. I was really enjoying getting to know him and spending more time with him. So he quickly made his way back from the friend zone.
Great, and now you're here.
Here we are.
And we thank God. Now, I like that we're talking about, you know, the time frame, the dating, the getting to know each other, because for a long time, it's been a point of debate, you know, that's too quick, you guys, that won't work out, or you're taking too long, what are you waiting for? Yeah. Let's talk about this, because I like the fact that you said, according to society, it was a short period of time, because that's what we've been cultured to. Do you think it really matters how long you get to know someone, how long you date before marriage?
It depends.
Okay.
I'll start off by saying this, is that divorce rates are lower when couples get married quick. Because what you're doing, when you get married as quick as possible, what you're allowing for is for joint life experiences to happen within the marriage. So you start creating these memories. We became friends in the marriage. We went to this place in the marriage. We handled our first argument in the marriage. We dated, and we can have all these things and just chalk it up to we did it within the marriage. If you do all of these things outside the marriage, and it's great, people date for X amounts of years before they really say you are the one. What happens? I won't say this as a fact, but what tends to happen?
What can happen?
What can happen? Thank you very much, baby. Is when you start, you're searching for new experiences within the marriage, but you've done them already in the dating.
Okay.
And so the marriage becomes an experience of like, it doesn't match your expectations. It wasn't that great. We spent maybe thousands of pounds, for example, or millions of shillings to put this together, and that's why people say it's just a piece of paper. Yeah. Because you've taken those great experiences, you've done them outside the gate rather than inside the gate. So I think it shouldn't really matter, but that's my answer.
Okay.
Well, what do you think, baby?
I would agree. I think it's highly dependent also on where you are. I think for us, especially spiritually, was one of the biggest things, because one thing that I was very sure of and adamant of is I didn't want the wedding to supersede the marriage. And if I'm honest with myself, if we were to wait longer, it would only be so we could have a bigger wedding. So we could save more, and so we could find the perfect venue, and we could have, you know, everything that we wanted. And that's just the wedding. Like, the wedding is literally day zero. After that starts the marriage. And nothing that you experience in day zero really fully equips you for what you're going to face for the thousands and days, hundreds of thousands of days left to come. So I think on one hand, it's great to be able to spend time with somebody and get to know them before, but I think it's making it, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional, being intentional with that time, not just drifting. If you want to wait a year and date for a year, that's fine, but be intentional with it. Use that time to build on the foundations of marriage, rather than using it to just coast and play marriage, you know? Cohabit, and then you start doing this. And I understand that life happens and people find themselves in situations. But the foundation that you lay for your marriage is very important. And I think making that decision and deciding that, you know what, I'm in this for the long haul, and come rain or shine, we're sticking through it. Divorce is not an option. We're sticking through this. And I think that's a decision that you make the minute. If you're dating somebody, you should be dating them with the intention to marry them. So you can quite easily make that decision once you found out enough, because there are people who've dated for like 6 years and you still find out stuff about your partner that you never knew. So if somebody wants to hide who they are, it can be easily hidden in 6 months as it can in 6 years. It's just as easy. So I think it's just making that decision and knowing for yourself, what's the reason you're entering into this relationship? Is it because you are in it for the long haul? And if you are, then time really isn't a factor. There's loads of experiences that you have, like my husband has said, within marriage that are just as sweet, and they don't feel any different because we didn't do it while we were dating and we did it while we were married. In fact, it solidifies and helped us to firm that foundation and make it even stronger within us. I think that really helps. So I'm a big advocate for make a decision and follow through with it. Don't conform to the norms that society might have, because that might not work for you.
And I like that you're saying be intentional. So it could be you want to finish your studies or do this and that, but you've already told that person, this is what I want for us. You know, we're not just playing games here. And also something you mentioned that made me think, could be this why people say marriage is boring or he's changed, we've changed, because during the dating period, or you had fun, you did all these things, and then now you're married and there's nothing more to do, you know.
And people have this stigma where they feel like the fun part should be dating, and then marriage is when it gets serious. And I think when you date for a long time, that really heightens that thought in people's mind. And it's true, if you've been dating for example 6 years, really by the time you get to marriage, you've experienced a whole lot already. Let's be honest. You've experienced a whole lot, so there is going to be, you are entering with an undertone of, wow, we've pretty much done it all already, like what's there to bring you? And don't get me wrong, there's still new things to bring, but it can, if you're already pessimistic about marriage, entering into it after a long stretch of dating definitely doesn't help that. I don't think it helps that position.
And there's a couple other benefits that we can explore as well. So as a minister, I couldn't be seen as just frolicking around and just, you know, hanging, you know, teasing one and the other, and the other person's like, what's happening over there? I'm like, don't worry about it. I can't stand up there and preach a message with the integrity of my heart by saying, be holy. And then here I am just keeping someone on the string. I have to just get in there, make it happen, and say, hey, I planned it. And the second reason is temptation is real. The burn is real. When you're single and you know you're single, and you're holding on and you're doing the best you can, you know, you have a reasonable level of, I'm going to switch that thing off, or turn that music off, or not be in somebody's DMs. I'm going to just keep myself. But then when now you see, because that's hope, right? Hope deferred. But then when you actually see the person, you're like, oh my gosh.
It intensifies.
I'm months away, I'm weeks away. I heard her voice on the phone and she sounds like a Kenyan pancake. Man, she's just sweet, man. Wow. Your mind starts creating. You don't no longer have to hope. She's right there. So the gates of burning just start to open up. You don't want to just, why would you hang around? While the guy specifically, if you got a high sex drive, why would you hang around for 3-4 years hurting yourself? Just agree, look, these are the things that I'm going on right now. No pressure, but leaving on the doorstep. Consider in your decision, can we move this along real quick? And if that person really loves you and they really want to make a future with you, there's no reason why they should say no.
And it's most likely reciprocated. I mean, it's not like women don't have desires as well. So most of the time it's reciprocated. And actually that's one of the things that we had to be really mindful of when we were dating. It was things like calling. We wouldn't talk after 10 p.m. because we knew that naturally the pillow talk, that bass, when he's laying on the pillow, that bass is real deep, and I'm laying on my side feeling like, oh Lord, help me, like Jesus, take the wheel. So we had to like put measures in place to help ourselves stay pure and to help ourselves just kind of as gracefully as possible get through the dating process, enjoying it, but also trying to abstain from sin, obviously.
So the release you have when you get married, you're free. Just as we don't have to question, just enjoy each other intellectually, mentally, emotionally, sexually, all these things. God is like saying, green light.
Wow. Let's talk about, I'd like to hear your journey and how you all came to be together, and what you've shared with us kind of answers all the other questions I had. But the aspect of dating for young people is always, how can I put it, a sensitive issue, you know, because you're trying to find out who do I like. Nowadays, I don't know how it is over there, but here we're being advised, don't just date one person. Get to know different people, you know, why you're confining yourself to this one individual without knowing, probably that is doing something in the long run to us, or conditioning us to a certain perspective. I'd like to hear what you guys have if you're to speak to someone who's young and they think, okay, God, I think I'd like to finally meet someone and settle down. What would be your advice for them? Start with you, Daisy.
I would say that, again, it comes back to that intentionality, being intentional. And I think being intentional starts before the dating process even begins. If you're intentional about I know we, especially us ladies, tend to have lists, our list of these are must. And I think there's an art to it that comes by the grace of God, which is, there are some things that are rigid. These are a must. They cannot, like, this does not move. These are the for example, he has to be saved for me. That's not shifting. That's not moving. There are some fundamentals of his characters that I needed to be there. I'm brought up predominantly, in fact, most of the women in my family are single mothers, single parents. So I've grown up around a lot of strong women, but haven't always had that strong father figure until my spiritual father came in and my stepfather came in. So one of the criteria that I needed somebody who was very strong in character. I needed somebody who could be able to put boundaries where there were none, because my life was very kind of laissez-faire, and I knew that I needed that strong. So there are some things that are rigid, but then there are some things that, you know, it's like, okay, I would like this, but it's not a must. So I think the intentionality starts from before, knowing what do I want. So when it comes to the dating period, there are some relationships you don't even entertain, because you know if your fundamentals, if your non-negotiables are not found in that person, as much as they might have a nice smile, as charming as they may be, as romantic as they may be, that's not productive for you. And what it does is the more relationships we enter into, they're depositing pieces of themselves in us. And there are pieces of us that's being deposited as we go along. So by the time you get to 5-6 years down the line, if that, even a year or two of constant dating can do a lot of damage, because you end up feeling more hopeless than you were to begin with at the start, if you don't have that intentionality to begin with. So I wouldn't say it's not the first person I see. That doesn't work out for everyone. I know people who the first relationship they ever got into has worked out beautifully, and unfortunately that's not always the case for everybody. It certainly wasn't for me. But I think it's just, there's a sense of holding yourself and being able to resist the charms of what seems beautiful, what seems almost seductive at the time, and being able to look past that to see, okay, but hang on, the characteristics that I believe I need in a man, are they found in him? And I think if they are, make a decision. And one thing that really helped me is, and I know this is very probably radical, and also a very controversial topic within young people, but I personally don't believe in the one.
Okay.
I don't necessarily believe that there is one person out there in the world. I think if you find somebody and you're happy with them, you are intentional about your decision to choose to love them.
Okay.
Because it's a choice you're making every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day I wake up and choose to love this man. It's not every day I feel like I want to love him.
Yeah.
It's not every day he's necessarily deserving of my love either. But it's not every day I'm deserving of his love. It's not every day he looks at me and thinks, wow, look at her. When I'm angry, when I'm upset with him, when he hasn't washed the dishes that I asked him to wash, I'm a completely different woman to the woman that he first met, strutting around gracefully and lovingly and polite. So I think it's there's an intentionality behind how we need to view dating.
Okay.
And it doesn't come easy. Sometimes you have to go through a few storms before the waters settle. But I think I'm not a big advocate of test around and go around. I think it's better to hold off and also discover yourself, learn about you so that you can actually really know what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
Because who you were at 16 is a completely different person to 18, a completely different person to 25. So you need that time to grow into yourself as well, so that you can truly see, okay, these are that was the youthful part of me that wanted that in a guy. But now that I'm maturing, I look at life differently. So your priorities change. Therefore, what you need from a relationship changes naturally. So I think there's I guess a marriage of intentionality and maturity that should go into the process.
Oh, beautifully said.
I echo it. I echo that completely. I agree with Daisy, you know, in terms of the culture that has been pushed into, especially into the church, of this try before you buy. You know, society, you can go buy a car, 2 weeks don't like it, bring it back.
Yeah.
You go buy a suit or a dress, 2 weeks don't like it, bring it back. And that mentality has been brought into the dating scene, especially when it comes to church. Let me just date you for a while. So I didn't like that you kissed your teeth or you rolled your eyes. That's not my kind of vibe. I want to put you back to the manufacturer. But yeah, I don't agree with that at all, because when you take a look at the Bible, there is no playbook for dating. There is no playbook for dating. It's either you're a single person or you are engaged to be married to a person.
Yeah.
God doesn't give us instructions of dating. In his mind is like you either choose and go and make it happen.
That's right.
And like I said, I think the marriage period can cover the dating period, as I mentioned at the beginning. Choose somebody you both agree, and enjoy what that landscape now opens up for you in such a safe and holy way. And just to kind of like add on to what I was saying here, I think it also depends on what kind of dating pool you are exposed to. If your dating pool is if you're exposed to a dating pool of just uni pool, then you're going to get the uni kind of response. If you're exposed to the work or whatever pool you're exposed to is what you're going to get back. Everyone's going to try. Like you said, deposit. Everyone's got a piece of each other, and it's like, whoa, I was with you. So the guy code is, I can't touch you because you was my friend or for a friend of a friend of a friend, and it just gets messy. But if you're exposed to the church, I'm not saying the church is perfect. We do have our messy spots. But the dating for the church kind of gives you some level of guarantees. The morals, the shared values, the foundations, etc., etc. And then you have to figure out which ones are wolves, which ones are sheep, and you go for the sheep. And you say, Lord, guide me to the sheep. So yeah.
Okay. There are lots of things, but when you're a young person, how can I say, you want to have fun, or that's what we think being a young person is. Don't waste your youth, go have fun. And when we started the conversation, you said you had a friend who invited you over and over again for the Bible study. I'm imagining there's a friend who's being invited over and over again for either a party or, let's go out clubbing, let's do this and that. And here you are, you're trying to work on your faith, you're trying to know God more, you want to, but then here's this invitation over and over again. And it's easy for you to say, let me go, or I'm losing friends, let me try and be part of them and all that. So let's talk about the many challenges that young people go through, the pressures to fit in, to want to have a community, whether they know God or not, because at least I have somebody. So let's talk about that and how, at the end of it all, you, what can I say, keep your values despite of every other thing that's happening. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard out here. It's being young is, in some ways I say being young is the ghetto.
When we say it's a ghetto, it's hard out in the streets.
It's hard in the streets.
It's hard in the streets.
Because honestly, neither of us have had a perfect journey in our walk with Christ. I definitely had my phase, especially through uni, where I fell off, and it was hard. Probably I'd say second year. First year I felt invincible, and by second year, it starts with, oh, let's go here and celebrate. We finished this assessment. Oh, let's go here and celebrate. So I know it's hard, and it really is hard. And getting back after you, especially getting back after, is even harder. But I'd say that on one hand, I think that's where we as Christians have a greater responsibility to enjoy fellowshipping together.
Okay.
And I notice a lot that people will put a lot of effort to organizing things with their friends who are not saved, to organize trips here and there, to organize a birthday party in this club, in that club, to club hop from this one, a crazy weekend. Oh, let's go on holiday. Let's go to here. Let's do this. Let's do that. They'll put in money, effort, time, create uniforms, outfits. Like, I've seen bachelorette parties that I'm thinking, y'all paid all of that for this outfit for one weekend. Wow. And you managed to get all your girls to contribute together. And but when it now comes to the church, when it now comes to, oh, let me call my girls and say, girls, let's do the same thing, let's have a fun weekend, we just have this assumption of it's going to be boring. Oh,
board games.
They're going to be playing board games. What are we going to be doing? I'm going away for a whole weekend to do what? Pray the whole weekend? I can't even pray for an hour. You want me to pray? It's that kind of thing. So that's one of the things that we try really hard to do, is to get together with young people and have fun and actually create an atmosphere where you don't feel like you're missing out. You don't feel like, because the reality is, in your youth, you want to have fun. Nobody wants to, as much as I love reading my Bible, but when you're young in that, especially in that adolescence phase, you don't, reading your Bible from morning to evening is not enticing. And sometimes, especially from the church leadership, they, that's the message that's put out from the pulpit. You should be at home reading your Bible. And it's like, okay, I did this morning. What do I do after that? Like, what now? It's some holidays. Where do you want me to go? Don't go to the clubs. Okay, where should I go then? Don't go to this bar. Don't go here. Don't go there. okay, so you've told me all the places I can't go. Where are the places I can go?
Yeah.
And then when we see those activities, are they fun? The ones who go and enjoy them, it's almost seen like a dirty little secret. I have a lot of young people that I know that will have a great time in youth sessions, but I won't see them post it once on their social media. Won't see it once. They're having the time. You can genuinely see they're actually having a good time. They go out with their girls on a crazy weekend to Marbella or something. It's all over your social. So you are unwillingly actually contributing to that stigma that church is boring, but life outside of the church is amazing. Fun. It's fun. And I think that I've had a lot of, in fact, when I think to my year where I fell off, not even a fraction of the fun that I've actually had with friends in church, whether it's retreats, sleepovers, whether it's going out, dinners, like we literally, everything that you can do, or the world, so to speak, can do, you can do within obviously the parameters of not being drunk and off your face and stuff, staying in control of yourself, but having fun. You don't need to be high, you don't need to be drunk to enjoy yourself. And if you need those things, that's actually an indicator of something deeper internally that needs healing. Because if you in and of yourself are not enough company and are not good enough to be presented to your friends, then that's a bigger problem. The problem is not the activity you're doing, the problem is you internally. So I think we as Christians need to take on that responsibility and be like, do you know what? I'm going to have fun and I'm going to share this unashamedly. I'm going to invite my friends to gatherings because we actually have fun. It's good. Otherwise, if we're just constantly inviting them to church service only, church service is great, don't get me wrong. It's amazing. They need to hear the word. That's the priority. But there's nothing wrong with also showing that, hello, we don't sit around all day like twiddling our thumbs and just reading the Bible in Greek and Hebrew. Like, that's not what Christians do all day. Although maybe actually it would be beneficial to do, but we do other things. But that's my view.
And my view as well, I echo that completely. I think what drives clean fun, Christian fun, is a clean heart. And I think when youth are exposed to basic functions of youth ministry or church ministry in the basic is Bible study and praying, and you facilitate that during the week or some way, somehow they can access that. God washes them, he cleans them out, and he begins to give them different affections, new clean desires to do things that are good and healthy for the soul and for the body and for the relationships you have. So when you do come together and you might be spending a bit more time with that girl or that boy in the youth group, the coming together is healthy, it's clean, it's not, is he a baddie or not? You know, is a bad boy or is she a bad bee? No, it's like, I'm really attracted to the clean and purity and holy heart that you have, but you're just a ton of fun. I see you joking, laughing, dancing, creating new dances, you're doing all kinds of things. So I think what really drives that kind of society that you're describing is a clean heart. It's something that has been touched and regenerated by Christ. Not necessarily a revival, big bang moment, but those small touches every day. If it's reading the word in the morning and it's like, oh, I caught something. And then it compounds over time. And then that just naturally touches your community, naturally touches your fellowship, naturally touches your fun that you do. You want to seek out, this fun is better for me to have than this fun that was actually destroying me. You're right, in terms of the alcoholism, drug abuse, all of these things, sexual promiscuity, it's all trying to cover up an insecurity. I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel clean. And it's a paradox of, I don't feel clean, so maybe go do something to make myself feel even dirtier. But God is saying, no, come be clean. Come into a community that is clean and be washed by my blood, be washed in the word, and let me reimagine or reinvent or push the reset button on what fun really is. And she's right, I have so much fun when we're together and we're doing stuff with the youth.
And it's funny, I was going to say that you've touched on something so key, which is that desire of, oh, I want a baddie, especially with us girls, is that there tends to be that desire of, I want a bad boy, or, you know, you want a guy who can hold his own, or looks a bit rough, or comes back at you. And when we take that down to its foundational desire, it just shows the imprint of society and the imprint of culture, the imprint of music, movies, television, reality TV. All these things are imprinting on us desires that when we really think about it, even parking the spiritual side for a second, just in the normal morality sense, why would you want somebody like on what planet? Like, why? You know, and I've been a victim of that myself. Like, so I'm not even judging anybody here. I'm starting inwardly. I ask myself sometimes, why, Daisy? Like, why do you want somebody who's going to be a bit feisty with? Why? Like, why do I want someone who's going to be rude to me, who roughs me up, who makes me feel rejected? Why? Why is that a desire that I even have? Why can I not desire to be treated like a queen? Why can I not desire somebody who loves me and is prepared to lay their life down for me? Why is that not the desire that is seen? Why is it that when a guy walks in and he's lovely, polite, he's, you know, all the things that we should desire, you know, oftentimes girls are like, nah, he looks a bit weak, you know, like, nah, he's not, the swag is not there, or this is not there. But then you get with a guy who has the swag and the body, and then you're crying 2 days later because you're now seeing him on socials, you're opening your Snap and you're seeing him with this girl, that girl, or this. And then you will still stay in that because you somehow feel you're deserving of that. And I think it's just like my husband said, there is a washing that the word does over us, and just fellowshipping with believers that helps your desires change, helps from the inward, literally outward, you change, and you start to realize that, wow, some of the desires I have, I never knew they were actually like deadly, literally costly to me. I didn't know. And when the word starts to enter, you start to feel like, you know what? I'm a daughter of the Most High God. Like, you better come correct. Don't come with no, like, no, I need the best. Like, I want the person who's straight and narrow. That's what I want. I don't want to be living in the shadows. I want to be living in the light. Like, I don't want to be, I remember in secondary school, I had this boyfriend who was the baddie, I guess, so to speak. And I remember one time he got stabbed, and then the guys that stabbed him were now looking for me, and then I had to be on house arrest with a police car outside my house for about a week. And I remember all the girls being like, wow, and so, you know, like, wow, oh my God, like, she's, oh my God, like she's in hiding. And it's like, that's so twisted. That is so twisted. Why were we praising that? Like, but that's what we were at the time. And even I felt a sense of, you know, like, oh, you know, this is, you know, you feel a sense of importance. But it just shows how broken the view of society of dating and what we should desire and what we should want and the standard that we should have. It's very broken, and we truly only find that standard being brought up to where it should be through the word.
Wow. I'd like my next question to be addressed to Pastor Mike, because you're ordained minister, but of course, Daisy, you can chip in here and there. Here's a young person who wants to give their life to Christ. What would you tell them? Why should they do that while still young?
These are good questions. Why should you give your life to Christ? Because during your 20s, you are searching for purpose. Every person is searching for purpose. There are people, young people we've counseled, come through our ministry, left our ministry, or stayed in our ministry, that they've gone through education, gone up to university, and then we ask them, was it worth it? They're like, I would do it all over again. I wish somebody told me. I wish somebody gave me guidance, gave me purpose of what I should be doing. And I would say to them that not only will giving your life to Christ give you a sense of direction and purpose, but it'll also give you a sense of direction and purpose that you're going to heaven. When it gets difficult during education, difficult during finding work, or whatever it may be, you have hope. You have hope. You have hope. Your soul is saved. You know that there's a God who hears you, a God who will supply your needs according to his riches in glory. But I would just tell a young person, find Christ. What you're looking for, what you're groping for, and all of these other distractions, be it alcohol, be it drugs, be it sexual promiscuity, be it other addictions, even social media, just binging the screen and the timeline. What you're searching for is meaning. What you're searching for is meaning. And you probably heard it 1,000 times. All of us have gadgets. We have phones, we have pads, we have whatever we have. If it's broken, some of us say, I just want a cheap fix. Let me go to the side shop. My guy will give me a 20,000 pound change, done. and my phone's working again. Sometimes it might glitch here or there, and oh, it's fine. The off button may not work, but it works. I can take a picture of my phone. But when I go back to the manufacturer, it might cost you a little bit more, but it's worth it in the long run. You might even get a whole return, a whole exchange in your warranty for like a brand new device. We are broken individuals. We're trying to do quick fixes with the things left, right, and center. It's just not doing it. It's patchwork. But go back to the manufacturer. Let them fix you up. Sin has run its course on you. Sin has run, addictions has run its course on you. And the person who's laughing the most at you is the devil. He's laughing. But he's the one who's telling you, it's okay. One more try is not going to hurt. One more take is not going to hurt. One more fix is not really going to hurt. YOLO, live your life. You know, do what you got to do. But he's the same person who's laughing and saying, you're gonna meet me soon in hell. God's saying, he's knocking on the door. He's saying, I love your soul. I love you more than you can ever imagine. Come to me. You're thirsty. Drink. I will give you life that you'll never ever have before. And you know that it's life. Because I will give you a drink and a food that you've never had before. It's a taste that you'll never taste and see that the Lord is good. And when you taste him, you're like, You know when you have the Fanta orange that we have now, right, in Kenya. We have a Fanta in the UK.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. And sometimes she has Fanta, she's like, I just want the Fanta from Kenya. When you taste Jesus and you go back to certain things, it's just not doing it for me no more. It's not doing it for me no more. So to be truly set free from sin, to be truly set free from your addictions, to really guarantee your presence from the Lord and freedom from the presence of sin, go to Jesus. Answer his call. He will not knock forever. That is a fact. He will not knock forever. And don't think that your super grace theology is going to be there on my deathbed, my last breath. Jesus, give my life to you. And you're gone. It's just, don't be arrogant. No one here can show me a contract signed by them and God saying, I'm guaranteed my next breath. We don't even know. We can walk out this studio and we get knocked down by a bus. You have no guarantee. No guarantee. So for us to walk around and say, tomorrow is arrogance. Is arrogance. I can go on forever. But just to answer your question is why they should, is for all the reasons I've mentioned. And I implore every young person, if you don't know Jesus, get to know him today.
Okay. Well, Daisy, maybe you can chip in about purpose and passion, because for young people, that's what they struggle with a lot. You take this course, you realize, I think this is what I'd like more. Or your parents tell you, it's either you do this or you're on your own and you do it, but that's not what you like. Or you're confused, you're like, what do I really want in life? You know, how do you get to that point where, you know, okay, this is what God's purpose is in my life? Yeah.
It's funny because that was my journey. I was sharing this with my aunt yesterday, actually. I wanted to be a lawyer at first, or throughout secondary education up until, I would say, actually even until college. College is where I changed. So around 16, 17 is where I changed, and then decided to go into theatre and directing. So I actually studied theatre and directing and performance in university. That's what I got a degree in. And then I got what you would deem to be the dream job. Did great at it. Directing, did amazing at it. Loved it. Got offered a permanent role and even got offers from 2 other studios that wanted me. But I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And I thought I would love it because I've built myself up to this point. And I think at that moment I realized being good at something doesn't necessarily mean it's where your passion is. And I was really confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was scared to tell my mum because she paid for my whole education. How do I go back to her and say, so, thanks for the last 3 years, Mum, but not really interested anymore. And by the way, I don't have a backup plan. So we're just vibing right now. I literally was just stuck. I was like, what do I do? And I thank God that he really did give me such a wonderful mother, because when I did tell her, she was so supportive. She was just like, Daisy, it's fine. Like, I get it, I understand. And she was like, don't worry, you're young. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. She was like, you know what, stay in America, enjoy yourself, have a good time, and, you know, let's just see where you end up. And I then ended up from there going into corporate and working in real estate in corporate, and again worked my way up from receptionist to management, and left at the point where they offered me what would be the dream job again for anybody in corporate. But at that point I felt like if I stay, I'm never getting out of this company. Like, I knew what the salary was going to be, I knew the benefit package, and I knew that once I had tasted that, my whole lifestyle would now adjust to that, and I wouldn't want to give that up. So it was make a decision now. It's now or never, basically. Okay. That's how I felt. And again, I wasn't passionate about the job. I loved doing it. I enjoyed doing it. I was very good at it, but I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't feel like I'm excited to wake up and, you know, this, I love this. In fact, it got to a point where I was so anxious because the role was really stressful and demanding on me. Sometimes I'd lock myself in the toilet and be crying and cry my eyes out because the pressure was so much. And I'd think to myself, why am I killing myself in this? Like, but again, it's that guise of, because you're good at something, and I was promoted so quickly and started literally from the bottom and worked, and you feel like there must be something here. Like, am I a fool to give this up? Like, people would kill to have this opportunity. Like, why would I walk away from this? Are you crazy? Like, but again, that's not where my passion was. So I remember my mum saying to me, Daisy, she had always said to me that she had started her own company at the time, and had said to me, you know, I want you to come and work with me. And I remember thinking, I think I'll just give it a go. And see, I was very anxious working with my mum. And I thought, let me just give it a go. And since then, I never looked back. And we work with young people. I work with young people in different spheres, from the ages of literally from as young as 4 all the way up to about 25. And I absolutely love it. And I would say, looking back, I always say to the young people that we are blessed to work with, I always say, take the pressure off yourself, honestly. Like, in the UK especially, when you're going into uni, you're 18 years old. Looking back onto it now, 18 years old is so young for you to make a decision on, this is what I want to study and do as a career for the rest of my life. And furthermore, on top of that, you haven't experienced any life. So how do I know what I want to do with my life if I haven't experienced life yet? It's a lot of pressure, and lovingly so, our parents add to that pressure unknowingly, in a loving way, because they want us to find our feet. They want us to be successful. They want us to be independent. But that pressure also can sometimes add to you making a decision that perhaps you're not ready to actually make. So I always say, it's funny because in dating, we were talking about the advice in dating of try and date. I would say I apply that philosophy to career. Try different things. Don't be afraid to say, do you know what? I tried this, it didn't work. That's okay, because you know that's, number one, you've got skills from that are transferable across the board. I've done things from waitressing. I was a waitress throughout uni, and actually a lot of my customer service skills that helped me in the corporate world and helped me today in my job now and in ministry, I learned from waitressing. I literally learned from having to serve people pizza and Pepsi every day. So no matter what you're doing, you're developing skills, you're finding things, and then in different things you think, oh, I like this aspect of this. Oh, okay. And that's how it was for me. I think, oh, during waitressing, oh, I really like talking to people, and I realized I love interacting with people. Cool, my next job has to have people interaction in it. I got into a job that had people interaction in it, but it also had a lot of heavy corporate stuff. And I realized I don't like the budgeting side, I don't like the finance side, that's not for me. But I like this, I like planning, I like organizing, I like business development, I love that. Oh, okay, let's add people and business development together. It takes you, so I don't think when it comes to career and purpose, I don't think there is ever such a thing as a waste of time. I think you develop things and you learn things and you grow and you find yourself into it. But I think a big part of that has to come from taking the pressure off yourself, allowing that, and in the midst of that as well, pray about it. Ask God, help me, like I genuinely don't know, direct me, help me to find the path where I'm going to land. And God highlights to you, this is what you want, like this is what you're good at, and mix that, what you're good at, with what you love. And in that, you find passion, you find purpose. You're able to make what feels like a job to sustain your income also something that helps you impact society and impact the world. And I think as human beings, we have an innate need in us to impact, to make an impact. We all have that sense of, what am I adding to the world, you know? And I think that's found when you have that cross of what you're good at doing mixed with what you love doing. And in between those two, you find that passion, purpose being fulfilled. But that takes time. And I don't think that always comes at 18. And for some people it does. I wish I was one of those people. I wasn't. And that's okay.
So take the pressure off.
I would say that. I would say take the pressure off yourself. Pump the brakes a little bit. And it's okay not to know. I think it's okay not to know. That's okay. Like, I think as well, even social media sometimes kills this and adds a lot of negativity towards this, because you see people doing amazing things. You know, they'll be posting, here's my desk, and you know, you're seeing, oh, here's my name on the door, and this one's going, oh, here's my new car that I bought, you know, or that the business partners bought me. And you're sitting there thinking, man, what am I doing with my life?
What am I doing wrong?
What's going on? Like, what aren't I getting right? And it's like, maybe that's just not your journey, and that's okay. And sometimes that's why I say it's important to like take pauses off social media. Social media can be amazing, but it also can be very detrimental. So sometimes it's key to take a pause, and not just social media, even from friends. Take a pause from exposing yourself constantly to the things that you think you want. Silence those voices so you can actually hear what you want, not what you see, not what looks enticing, not what looks shiny, not what looks easy, but what's actually right for you and what works for you. Because you could get a job, I could get your job and completely suck at it. And I could be sitting here thinking, I can do this with my eyes closed. Look, all she has to do is sit there and ask me a couple of questions. Then I walk a week in your job and I'm like, oh, so I actually have to do research before guests come. Oh, I have to prepare the questions myself. Oh, I have to watch this camera and do that all simultaneously. And suddenly it's not as glamorous as I thought it was. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do. They go for the things that seem glamorous and expect to find purpose in that. But that's not purpose. That's just a job.
Well, thank you. Thank you for putting that well. Here's a question for you, Mike. I think there's a question coming in about opportunities for young people outside. So by outside, I mean like outside, let me say outside Africa, because there's a lot of that campaign going on. When you look at the economic state of our country currently, of course, a lot of adverts and scholarship and job opportunities outside. Some rush into them blindly, some rush into them thinking they're glamorous, I'll make money easy, you know. I'd like to hear from you what you can say about this. Let me just say your advice to it. Rush for it, take time, research, you take it over. What can you say?
Good question. I think I'm connected to, in our youth group we have, to my knowledge, 3 people who have sought opportunity in the UK, and I love them to death. I love them to bits, and they all have different experiences of how they found themselves in the UK. And one person was here, and they said, oh, "I really want to find myself in a different area." But in fact, no. Let me scratch that example. One person has got an amazing trades that you can actually use anywhere in the world, but find themselves doing a role and a job that they're just not suited for. They just find themselves doing because they have to do it for the time being. They don't regret it. It's just, I'm just biding my time. I think your decision to explore, international opportunities should be quick. I want to do this. What you will gain, being exposed to culture, being exposed to other opportunities, being exposed, expanding your network, opening up other avenues, and just increasing your exposure worldwide, invaluable. Your decision to reach for that should be a snap decision, but 100% research. Get as much information as possible, as much as you can, before you go in there. There's always a level of risk. You can't plan for everything, but take a calculated risk that you are comfortable with, and then make the jump. If you are, faith believing, pray, expose it, be transparent to people you trust in leadership. connect with the person that may be sponsoring you. Are you trustworthy, or am I just another number on your on your sheet? So do the research. But in terms of the desire, if the desire for you is to just start traveling across the world to do things, don't hesitate.
Okay.
Don't hesitate, but definitely do your research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's been lovely having you on board. So many things here to talk about. Time also is running out. But I'd like to hear that any projects you guys are running out, planning to start when it comes to young people.
We have lots of projects on the go, but one in particular that's the most important.
Wouldn't overlook it for a minute. Go for it.
I think we found, of all the projects that we've done, I mean, we've done retreats, we've involved in multiple groups with young adults, but probably the thing that is the most important and yields the most fruit is our recent projects of daily Bible readings. Bible reading every single day.
I know that's probably gone over people's heads thinking, read your Bible, pray every day. Just to bounce off what you were saying here, we had a team, youth leadership team strategy meeting just shy of the end of the year last year, and we had a long list of things that we wanted to do. We'd go on retreats and do a tour of the UK and do all these things, and Bible reading was probably the last AOB. As a quick add-on. Oh, we should get our Bible reading on top. And everyone was like, okay, sure. Lo and behold, Bible reading has been a place of miracles. Just a quick testimony. I know we're short on time. I'll keep it short and sweet. Young woman we love dearly. I keep her anonymous for now because she will kill me if I put her name out there. She said that when she would be on the Bible readings, she let me know that her parents would be listening in, be they in the living room or the kitchen or in the same space. And she let me know that there were some tension in the marriage. And there was a session where we was talking about marriage and talking about relationships, or I might have digressed and talked about that. And she was saying that they were listening, and she came back and said, God is granting fruit to just release that tension in their marriage. And I've witnessed as a daughter, things just getting a little bit better. And that was all from Bible reading. And the Bible reading is a low pressure environment. I don't go away with I don't go to the mountaintop and break down my 3-point sermons and sharpen my homiletics to deliver a wow sermon. I don't have to prepare anything. We just log on, look at one chapter, we read through it, and we say, what is the text telling you? We exegete the text. And we have some people just podcast. I'm not here to share. Just on the podcast, I'm on the way somewhere. Some people are like, I really want to get involved. But God does something really special. Every chapter has been something powerful. And we've been doing it, I'll say at least 3 to 4 times a week. It's just been so good. Yes, the retreat's happening. Yes, we started the tour. But where change has really happened. I mean, another gentleman, I won't name his name again, he said, look, when I come home from work, I listen to a podcast on the session, and I feel like I go straight to prayer and straight to bed. His life is beginning to change. As I mentor him directly, I've seen his life just radically begin to change. Day by day, bit by bit. I've seen his hunger for God just increase, which is amazing to see. That wasn't from an amazing day. It was just, I heard what was said, and you can see the word being deposited in the heart and growing and be given fruit. I praise God for that. That's the best project I can ever give you.
You can't manufacture that. You can't
buy that.
That's literally God just working through the power of his word. So we definitely have a vision to see the UK PCA, St. Matthew's, adult youth, as a parish,
look after.
Just go forth and really just shine forth in the UK and grow in our numbers, but also more importantly, grow in our word and our understanding of who God is and the way in which his power manifests through us. That's the biggest vision that we probably have.
Okay. You have a lot of fans on the social media pages. Rahab Kamau says, "Men, Pastor Mike and Daisy, well done. Lovely to watch you, Pastor Mike and Sister Daisy on Kirk TV." This is Fainyaga. Hannah Waberi says, "Well done, Pastor Mike and Sister Daisy. What a wonderful thing to watch you on Kirk TV." And Jesse Munyoroku says, "Thanks, Pastor Mike and Daisy, for being a blessing to our youths globally watching from UK PCA." Of course, comments there saying our youth pastors loving the conversation. Thank you for being here. Before we end the program, of course, there's something important I want us to touch on. a lot of young people nowadays, when I say don't want to get married or shun off that thought because I can still have a baby even though I'm not married. They think that marriage feels like prison. You stay with this person forever, you know, want to have fun, want to explore, want to do this. And so they'd rather not get married because that is what is being preached currently. And of course, when you look, when this comes to, can I say, Christianity and the Bible, of course, there's that aspect of family and the importance of family. So I'll just talk about this to young people. I don't know if you'll touch on the importance of marriage. I don't know what you tell. I'll leave this to you to give a response to that. But yeah, that is how it looks like. And even when a young person or friend tells you, so I found someone I'm settling down with, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Like, are you really sure? You know, because marriage has been painted to be negative. So what can you say about that?
I would say, firstly, if you feel like that, contact us. Hit us up. And I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart. Contact us, because marriage is sweet. Marriage is sweet, and it's not like that. But I understand and I completely respect the fears, because everybody has a journey, and we've not all grown up seeing great examples of marriage. And we don't look out of our windows and see great examples of marriage all the time. So I can understand where that fear and that anxiety comes from and that thought comes from. And I completely respect that, but I also understand that it's not something that can be settled with one line and one phrase, which is why I say, if you feel that way, genuinely contact us, because I'd love to hear more. But I'm sure my husband can speak and respond to that as well.
As always, I agree with what you say. Just to bounce off what you're saying, what I would add to that is saying the covenant of marriage, within a covenant, or human terminology, within the contract, you are afforded benefits, and a heavenly marriage covenant, you are afforded heavenly benefits. When you pray as a couple, you have the power to touch and agree and put 10,000 to flight, where one of you can only put 1,000. You multiply your spiritual impacts. You multiply the sound of your prayer when you can join hands with somebody who's one with you, or is becoming one with you. So when you want to, practice the benefits of marriage without the covenant of marriage, it's a struggle. You might be able to copy it somewhat on the outside, what it looks like, but the substance of what you have is not ratified by God. So He doesn't afford you the same benefits of marriage, in my humble opinion. And I recommend. Call us, contact us. We do counseling. We love it. And we want to walk with people on the journey. Let's recover marriage. It's been taken by the world, and it's been dissected and sliced in all kinds of ways. Let's bring it back to where God intended it.
And there are lots, I'll just add on, there are lots of positive examples of marriage. Unfortunately, they get drowned out by the negative experiences. But I can promise you that we ourselves know so many examples of great marriages that have stood the test of time, are still standing by God's grace. Look, in fact, one of the couples that we look at and admire the most is actually Reverend Jesse Munyoroku and his wife.
Genuine love.
They are just, when the way he looks at her, the way she looks at him, the way they embrace and dance, and it looks fun, and it looks encouraging, and it looks motivating, and it makes us feel like, wow, I can't wait to get to that stage. I can't wait to experience that level of marriage. So I think it's it comes back to that responsibility that I shared as Christians, where we have to revert back to being that positive example and showcasing the beauty in marriage, so that people are excited about it and see that it's sweet.
Right.
It's sweet.
It's sweet.
It is sweet.
Great. We've sadly, but we have to come to an end of this program. It has been amazing having you on board. Your parting shot. What would you like to leave people who are watching us with, as well as a word to young people out there? Daisy.
Very short and sweet. I would say love God, like love God wholeheartedly. It sounds very cliche, but there is a love that cannot be manufactured. It can't be found elsewhere. It can't be forced, that you find wholeness and completeness in when you're in God. So I would say that despite what you're going through, because I know everybody has so many different challenges and so many insecurities and obstacles that they're going through, but run to God. Take those fears and insecurities to God. Let them be healed and find that wholeness within God. Don't look for it in a person or in a substance, but look for it in God, because that's the only place that you can find that wholeness, that complete and total restoration.
Wow.
Parting shot for me,
Yes.
give your life to Jesus. What can I say? My responsibility is to preach the gospel. Give your life to Jesus and say no to the enemy today. The gates of heaven will not be open forever. So get your name in the book of life.
Allow me to say this, because I wanted to say it off air, but I have to say, because you've repeated it again, the gates of heaven won't be open forever. That knock won't always be there, because I think you are the first person I'm hearing say that. A lot of times when preachers speak, they say, the grace of God, just as you've said. So we always think it will always be there. Tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, or during my last breath, I'll give my life to Christ, And it's refreshing to hear you say that. Of course, it doesn't come out as a threat, but I think it's also the honest truth. Let's not take advantage of the grace of God and say, His grace is sufficient,
Yeah.
So why rush? There's still time. Wow, it has been lovely having you on board.
It's been a pleasure.
And it's been
thank
such
you
a pleasure.
Coming.
Thank you so much for having us. And it wouldn't be fair to come on here and not give a shout out to our church back home. We really love where we fellowship, as we've mentioned, UKPCA. And a big shout out to Reverend Jesse Munyoroku. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here without his leadership and his stewardship, and of course our adult youth.
We love you guys.
We love you guys.
Are you watching? We love you. Like tons.
And thank you so much for having us on. It's been such an honor. It's honestly been such an honor. Thank you so much.
Karibu. It's been lovely. I believe that what we've discussed here cuts across. Everyone can learn something from what we've touched on. I think that for me is what I like. We've of course focused on the youth and young people, but anyone who tunes in will find something to learn from it. So thank you for being here.
Asante.
That's it, guys. We have to call it a day. Otherwise, we'll extend and this will bring me troubles. But thank you so much for tuning in. Always a pleasure to have you on board. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, keep safe and keep watching Kirk TV. Goodbye.